Well, we're here in Blue Springs, Missouri, and we're visiting with John Cook, my friend and my brother that I served with in Vietnam in 1969. So, first of all, let me ask you, where were you born and raised?
Kennett, Missouri.
And your date of birth?
June the 9th, 1948.
And before Vietnam, I'm assuming you went through the normal upraising. What did you do as a kid, or what were your folks up to in those days when you were being raised?
My mom and dad split when I was young, and when they divorced, they split as siblings. I had a brother and a sister, and my brother went with my dad, and me and my sister went with my mom. So from age 10 on, I've done some kind of work to help mother because she wasn't skilled in anything, and so we done it just to live. And I know whenever I filed for my Social Security, they send you out a list of how much Social Security you pay in your life. I was born in 48 and I paid $16 in 1958. So that was when I got my Social Security out. So my childhood, I had as good as anybody else, but we just didn't have nothing, it just.
Do you remember your first job?
7-day-a-week paper route. But from that, just being a rowdy kid until I got drafted.
And then normal high school type stuff?
Yeah.
Did you play any sports?
No. Played a little baseball and football in junior high, but once I got into high school, I kind of lost.
So you got drafted, and right?
Right.
And you went to Fort Campbell, Kentucky. And when was that?
The 6th day of May, 1968.
16th or 6th?
6th.
After Fort Campbell, did they tell you at the end of that cycle what your MOS was going to be?
Yes, I was infantry.
And so 11B.
11B.
Okay.
Yeah.
And where did they say you were going for base?
Fort Lewis.
Okay.
Yeah.
For AIT.
And I was more or less told then that I was going to Vietnam.
Okay.
It wasn't because that was about the time that Mr. Johnson was sending that 250,000
That's
guys.
right. That's right.
So there wasn't no doubt where he was going,
Did you make any friends in AIT that you later saw? Or?
I don't know if I will call him a friend or not, but anyway, no, I got one guy, and his Moose, or Robert
Mollenhauer.
But anyway, we were in service together all of his service career. He was from Minnesota, and I think I was the only guy from Missouri in this whole crew. I was with all these Yankees. And they played all these different card games, all this other crap I'd never heard of, But anyway, Moose and I were in basic together, and then whenever we were sent straight out from basic to AIT, was no leave in it. And we got over there, got to Fort Lewis, and we were in the same platoon again. And then we went home for 2 weeks before we went to Vietnam. And then we got to Vietnam, we didn't fly back with the same planes or nothing else. We got to Vietnam though, then we got put in the same platoon again. No, Moose and I guess, became, I consider him a real good friend because we were just always together.
Mm-hmm.
Now, when we was in Vietnam, we picked up some different groups, or different guys, but it was just his whole service, we was together.
Did you stay in touch with him after Vietnam?
No, I did not, because he got hurt in March.
Right.
And I was still there. No, I didn't.
But I mean, when you came home, did you go, wait a minute, I gotta get in touch with Moose?
No, not till I got in touch
Why
with you.
didn't we?
I have no idea.
You know, it's a unique phenomenon.
I really think, John, the biggest thing, as far as me, is what I can remember, is the way the United States was in such turmoil right at that time about Vietnam. I didn't want no reminder of it, of nobody.
Mm-hmm.
You know, the farther I could stay away from the word Vietnam,
Mm-hmm.
it's where I wanted to be. You know, it was a bad experience for me to come home. And so, and it took years to get over that.
Well, you know what? The shape that we were in when we got back from Vietnam, as far as emotionally, one of the biggest problems, as you know, that we had is it was very difficult for us to connect and give up anything. We could take, but we couldn't give what they needed, you know, emotionally. It was just it was very, very tough. So so you and Moose, unbeknownst to you, wind up in probably the reception station.
At Long Bend.
In Long Bend.
And when we found each other, we got on a detail together. Because when we first got there, we thought we wanted to get up in front, you know, to where they could give us our duty station.
Yes. Did you go to the bleachers every day to wait and hope your name was?
Pretty soon we found out we stayed here because if your name wasn't called,
You stayed.
you got in trouble. But anyway, we got a little burning detail one time, and he and I. That's when we really run back into each other, and we were getting to clean the latrines and burn up all the mess, and we actually blew up a captain. I think either a captain or a major.
Wasn't it a first sergeant? The old first sergeant with the cigar in his
Well,
mouth?
I don't remember, but I don't remember as much about as Moose did, but I know we sure didn't get to burn crap no more. They found other jobs for us. But,
And you know the funniest part of that story, don't you? Is when Moose was at Fitzsimmons, and the burn guys were in with everybody else,
yeah.
and remember the story where they wheeled this guy in and he was on his stomach, and he was telling everybody how he was in a latrine and a mortar hit it.
Yeah, it wasn't a mortar.
And Moose said he almost choked to death. You know, he was gonna start laughing. And they had the guy in there because they were gonna take the bandages off and debraid, you know, the dead skin. And here he comes in talking, you know, about what happened to him. Somebody said, "What happened to you?" And he started telling them, "Yeah, I was walking across it, Long Bend, and got in the latrine, and the next thing I know, we had incoming, and a mortar hit that." Well, he was half right. The latrine blew all to pieces.
Oh, yeah. But and I didn't do that. Moose did.
He went and got the JP4. Yeah, Moose admits it.
Oh.
Because it wasn't burning fast
No,
enough.
that's right. And he went and got the C4 to throw it in there to get it to burning good.
But you didn't get to ignite it because I think there was a horn for incoming or something.
I don't remember that.
You shoved the
much.
cans back under and took off.
I had forgotten completely about it until we started its reunions, and then,
Yeah.
and I've done that with a lot of Vietnam, having a tendency to block bad things out. And over the years, I remember a lot of it from being back with you men. And but there was a great long time that I would just didn't actually, I mean, I knew I'd been in Vietnam, but I didn't remember none of it.
Yeah.
And because I didn't want to remember it.
Unit when they call our names, or did you not even give it a thought?
Didn't even think about it.
Yeah.
I didn't. I mean, I didn't, because I didn't know what was going on. You know, here we are.
You're just waiting to find out.
scared to death.
So one day you're in the bleachers,
And we're wolfhounds.
your name is called, Moose's name is called. As I recall, they said you're gonna get on truck number 1 and it's going to Coochie. So make sure you take.
We got on a plane.
Oh, you did? Oh,
Yeah.
we got trucked.
No, we flew out. And I thought we were getting shot at, but I don't guess we were. I guess.
Yeah, and remember, you didn't have a weapon yet.
Oh, no.
So you felt pretty naked out there.
And like I said, terrified.
Yeah.
I think once I put foot on ground, that there wasn't 30 minutes out of that time left that she wasn't worried about what was going on.
Yeah.
There was always something going on.
Who did you and Moose meet when you went into the company area, when they dumped you off?
You know, I remember you, and I remember Ray.
No, I mean at the company area. You haven't come out with us yet.
Oh, you mean?
Was the company clerk, or was it, who came out and said, hey, let me see your paperwork?
I couldn't tell you.
Okay.
I guess it was Teach, but I could not tell you. I mean, I just.
And then they said there's a supply room.
And they gave us our junk, gave us all our stuff and gave us our rifle. And it seemed, I know I'd been in the country about 4 days when I hit.
Yeah.
Out.
But do you remember they didn't give you any ammo in Coochie?
No.
You were walking around with a useless.
That's right. Yeah, but at that time, we didn't pull guard duty or nothing anyway.
Yeah.
I mean, they were just getting us ready to get us out.
When you guys came out to the field, where were we when you came out?
I know that
Was it Jackson?
I think it was
Jackson Fire
I believe
Support
it was
Base.
because I was there about the 3rd day, and we went out on a full platoon patrol one night. And I can remember we had 4 VC walk up on us. And man, I know when we opened up on them, I was scared to death, but we got about 30 guys here, shooting at 4, and we didn't get them all. We got 3 of them, and then we had one he was hit, but he was behind a berm. And I thought, what in the world are we gonna do with this fella? But it all worked out, but just little things like that's what I always remembered was not what.
So you were a new guy. M16.
Terrified.
M16.
And they tell me when they get here and we say fire, shoot at them.
And that was at night, right, on that AP, so there wasn't seeing anything. It's basically shoot. Or somebody opened up and everybody started shooting.
And then everybody started shooting.
Yep.
And then we had our medic, Doc Turner, there, and whenever I got drafted, the draft board told me that I could take a gun or a knife or whatever I wanted with me when I went. So stupid me, I go buy a knife to go to a gunfight, And so Doc Turner knew about this. Well, that particular night, that was the first action I had seen. And I think it was about the 14th or 15th of October. And piled these up, and the next morning, Doc wanted to borrow my knife. I had no idea what for. But I found out what for later, and he couldn't borrow my knife no more. The first time, that I'd ever seen anything, and it stuck with me more than a lot of the other incidents. And we had quite a few incidents. No, I think that was easier for me, just if I can't remember, it never happened.
Yeah.
As you and I both know, it seemed like that we were doing something or in something at least 3 or 4 times a week. There was always something. May not be major, but we would get in some kind of.
A sniper here, a sniper there.
And, to set, you and I were talking earlier, that your mind was on that 24 hours a day.
Never could sleep.
Never. And you're mentally exhausted, physically exhausted. I remember, I don't remember much of the sweeps other than daytimes. You know, we would be at different, they'd fly us out and drop us off, you know, we get to walk back in, and few times where we get into contact, I can remember a few of the firefights, but most of it was just me wanting to get it done every day. And I tell you the truth, when I come back and you and I first met again, I couldn't tell you 10 episodes of what happened, but over the years I can remember some of them now. And I still have a tendency not to want to remember. And when it started, it was so overwhelming to a little old country boy, you know, that knew nothing.
And then when the illumination, that got even scarier.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
You know, you'd think that was to our advantage, but they could see us.
Yeah.
And
but we were lying pretty close around that berm, and I thought, anything coming in here, somebody's gonna get hurt, you know.
a lot of people are gonna get hurt. You may not know this, but Ray Bourgeois was carrying a gun, an M60 that night. And when we opened up, he started going back and forth. And you know how the adrenaline, you know how the excitement of that happens. Well, Ray just kind of lost track of what he was doing. And everybody that night had hooked their ammo up. All the belts were there, everything was laid on the table, so to speak. And I looked across and I could see the barrel was red. And I thought, this can't be good. And somebody was yelling at Ray to stop, you know, let up, but you know, he didn't let up. And then it turned white and you could see the rounds going through the barrel, transparent. And people were yelling at him, stop, stop. And then somebody reached up and broke the clip. And then it went through. Well, you know, I had thought at that time, well, he panicked. He just panicked and his fingers stuck and whatever. What happened is when the barrel got hot,
it wouldn't quit firing.
It was quick cooking off.
Yeah, it wouldn't quit firing.
It was, in other words, the next round goes in, it was so hot it cooked it off. So Ray took his finger off a long time before that, but it would never stop.
I can remember it was later on I'd been there a couple of months. I mean, I'd already got to 60 and carrying, and we come across a wooded area, and I had 160 and Larry Lamar had the other one.
Yeah,
and
that's
they
exactly right.
Put us both on one on each side of it, and then y'all sweep down through the wooded area, and we'd be on the outside to take care of whoever come out.
Exactly.
And I can remember like that particular day that I had about 5 BC that come out on my side, you know, and then we had another time we was over a river somewhere.
It was called the Vamco.
Well,
the Vamco River.
And we had a pretty good indication, you know, firefight there.
That day, by the way, we were going to be a blocking force for Delta Company that was supposed to be coming from the other end. And if they chased them our way, then we were supposed to be there.
But, you know, like I said, as far as putting a day and different things, I have a very difficult time doing that. But there's still a lot of the different fights that we got in. I can remember the highlights. The only dates that I really remember very much is when people that I cared about got hurt. And, you know, in our major, you know, because there at the start, I didn't know nobody. And if it hadn't have been for Willie, I probably wouldn't have made it. But Willie kind of took Moose and I under his arm, under his wing. And he was a little fella, but he was a smart man, and he knew what we needed to look out for and what not to do, and that's all. He didn't.
Yeah.
But now I know Willie spent probably a couple of weeks with us when we first got there. As much as he could. And
Well, he was getting short, and
Oh,
he
yeah.
wouldn't go back. They kept saying, we're gonna send you to Coochie, and for some reason or other, he would not leave.
But he was real short when I got there. And but anyway, he probably done as much as anybody as far as fixing it where I could come home, and for me, and like I said, Moose and I went in together. Moose wasn't as lucky as I was, but we both went out and got. Seemed like to me we went out. We was there the second day before we got run over, was it not?
Say again?
Wasn't we there the second day before we got overrun?
Yeah, oh yeah, we were there because
Well,
one, two, or three, I think it was on the third day, yeah.
Well, we got.
Because for 2 days, we did nothing but build.
Bunkers and,
Yep.
and put up concertina wire and,
Yep,
and get everything ready, because that's all it was about for us to get out there to bring the VC back from up across the Cambodian border.
Do you also remember the Arvin compound that sat directly behind us?
No, I don't remember that one, John. I meant, but like I said, I can remember we had worked our backsides off, getting this, getting it all built up, and then that particular night that they hit us, I was wanting to think it was the third night in May.
I think it was, yeah, I think it was.
And, but anyway, they sent us out on a patrol and left 9 men, I think's what it was, for them 6 bunkers. And, so anyway, I remember when we left out, we went, I'm gonna say maybe a half mile, 3/4 at the most. And we were told that there was VC all around us, and so we was trying to get moved to get to a safer place, and all hell broke loose. I mean, it broke loose. Seemed like for every direction, but it wasn't. It was all in front of us, but it seemed like it was, to me, it seemed like it was from everywhere. And I can remember just lines of Viet Cong just keep coming, just kept coming, and it was close enough that you could hear them talking and everything. And then I know Steve Thorpe, when we first got into contact, he accidentally, had a new guy carrying ammunition for me.
Steve Thorpe was Jamie's RTO.
And he was our RTO. And this boy stood up by the time that Steve fired off, and he shot him 3 times in the back. And he landed right behind me and John. And he said all night long, you remember, he sat there and said, "Cook, help me all night." Couldn't help him, couldn't get to it. I mean, it was all night long, and
when we did, all we could do is shove a towel.
I took some old dirty towels and over my neck and laid them over his back to keep the flies off of him. And, excuse me, if it hadn't been for Pete,
For the life of me, I can't remember his name.
I have no idea who he was. I have no idea who he was, but he did live.
Yes, he did.
But if it hadn't been for Pete, our
Kit Carson Scout.
kid, they would have been all over us. I mean, he went out, and I can remember him going out and talking to Sam, and we was all dead. We almost all were, but I mean, there was 7 or 8 of us left that was still firing, but had a lot of wounded, a lot of dead. because they walked right up on top of us. I mean,
Do you remember the crew-served 51 caliber machine gun?
but,
And Bobby Connell stood up with the 79 and one shot, lucky shot,
got it, yeah.
landed right in the middle of it and took it out. And that right there may have saved us, because that 51, as you remember, was coming through the berm.
Yeah,
It was,
yeah.
yeah, it was not a good thing.
I think the worst thing that happened to me was we were told to clean the bunkers out, we had to stay another night. And then when we did, I picked a boot up and it still had the foot in it. And it was just more than mentally that, it did things. That did things too, because we still had these boys that were dead lying out there waiting.
With the ponchos.
Like I said, there was 7 or 8 of us, and
Oh.
they said, we're gonna stay again tonight. And we just had 9 there the night before that couldn't hold them. Now we're gonna have 8 to do it. And I can remember.
Well, we knew it was over, basically.
I can remember we fixed the bunkers up and then dug foxholes out beside them
Yes, we
to stay
did,
out of the bunkers.
because we weren't gonna be in the bunkers that next night.
Yeah, we dug foxholes beside the
What they
bunkers.
did is they threw satchel charges in there and got them all, except Dave Brogan.
Yeah,
Brogan was the only one that survived.
but it was, and that particular night changed all of us. I mean, it changed all of us that survived.
Every one of us.
That survived it. That one changed our lives. And it wasn't, here we got to go back to 2 and 3 and 4, but it was,
Yeah, I remember, we knew it was the end.
there was no way we was gonna make it. And I know myself, maybe not everybody, but it got to where I actually couldn't sleep at night. I could sleep in the daytime a little bit, but I couldn't sleep at night at all. That day, whenever the sergeant come over and told us we had to spend that night, that, it was over. We weren't never gonna, we wasn't gonna make it then.
That's the only time I ever saw Marquez cry.
And,
Only time. He never showed emotion like that.
No. But, it was, it changed me so much. I mean, I could still function, but I was never any good to nobody after that, because I think I became more angry than I was scared. And so,
And you carried the gun the whole time.
oh yeah, I didn't never want to get, once I had a chance to get the 60, I didn't want any of that other mess.
Did you run out of ammo that night?
I did on March 4th I did. Night that Moose got hurt. But no, I had enough on the 23rd, to make it. But the night Moose got hurt, I think it was him and
Russ Bruns.
Russ Brunt, that's right, that's the one, they both got hurt that night.
Yeah.
But anyway, it was late, and they said that the helicopter, or what I remember, they said they didn't have no helicopters come get us.
That's exactly correct.
And so they brought a Chinook out with concertina wire and sea rations and ammunition and sandbags. And this was late in the afternoon, and by the time we got just barely set up, they were all over us. I mean, and the best I remember, the foliage was just right on top of us. I mean, we didn't have no place to cleared back, there's nothing else.
And do you remember the feeling when the new guys started to come in?
Yeah, I did. I mean, because after us losing so many, you know, it was just, I had no desire to know any of them. I just did not. It was just, I always, me carrying the 60, I always got the new guys anyway. But as far
As ammo bearers.
As ammo bearers. And I never, you know, and I never did try to get acquainted with them, because after the next guy we got in knew that I got him, and this guy got off of duty, you know, got to change. So I always seemed to have a new guy around. And
you know, the new guys that we got later, when I found them after 36 years, the first thing they remembered is how they heard about all what happened. And they were scared to death.
And but there was so many of the young guys didn't make it.
Yeah.
You know, that's, you know, I mean, the old guys finally, I mean, as long as we were there, we were sure we weren't gonna make it. It seemed like odds, all of us got the feeling, or I know I did, that there was no way I was gonna make 12 months out there.
Yeah.
There was just no way. And, but the new guys had a tendency, I mean, I don't know what kind of percentage, but it seemed like they would get hurt.
A lot of booby traps.
Right, yeah, a lot of that. Well, you know, I tripped a booby trap there one time. And we were going across this little old fence row, and Bobby Connell was walking behind me. And I tripped, and luckily it was one of the old
Chi-Coms, yeah.
grenades. And I felt it hang my foot, and I fell forward and told everybody to get down, and nobody got hurt other than my M60 machine gun. Just tore the butt of it up.
Oh, wow.
It stuck in the ground, nose down, the butt was up, and it just, had to have a different gun. But,
And the reason we always like Chi-Coms is because they broke up into about 6 pieces.
Yeah, instead of,
I mean, and so if you didn't get hit by one of the pieces, you were okay.
yeah, but I've been like one of ours. I mean,
Oh.
you know, they were deadly. And I was lucky that I never got hurt very bad.
So after you'd been there, what, 6 months, you got an R&R?
No, I got my R&R in late June. So I'd been there about 9 months, 9-10 months. And, cause I come in on 1st October, and I got I had to get offline. I mean, I'd already just about had it. I was terrified. I mean, I'm not ashamed to say it, I was terrified. And I applied for a 7-day leave, and I went to Taiwan. And then when I come back, I was in no hurry about getting back out to the line. We had so much bad go on. The good times, I could remember more.
Oh, yeah.
You know, we had some good times, because we were just kids. And whenever we got a chance to play, we were a bunch of kids. You remember swimming in the
Yes, sir.
bomb craters? We were just a bunch of kids. And one or two guys would be standing out here standing guard. But it didn't seem like we was in a war zone then. We were a bunch of kids again. Lucked out. I had got back to Coochie, and I was waiting on transportation to get back. And I wasn't in no hurry, don't get me wrong. And I got acquainted with a few of the guys at headquarters company, because that was where I had to go to get transportation. And it was in this same part of headquarters company that I had to go to get transportation, because they sent hot food, ammunition, and whatever the companies needed from this one particular office. And I had already gotten my orders for E5. I mean, I knew I was going to get them, but I hadn't got my orders yet.
Mhm.
And it had to be at least you had to be an NCO to take this particular job, and this guy was getting ready to go home. His time was up. And so anyway, I got in touch with the captain and all, and asked him if I could get it. You had to have at least 6 months in country before you could even possibly get a job offline. And I had about 10 months at that time. And luckily, I was just lucky they gave it to me, because I didn't have that much time left. Most of the time they wouldn't, it wasn't worth the deal of
Training you,
and then shipping you out. But anyway, good Lord was with me or whatever, because I wasn't special, because other men spent 12 months, but I don't know if I could have made 2 more months. I mean, I was in bad shape. I was in bad enough shape that my mother, I went to the congressman and they had me pulled in to run evaluations. I think I had come to the realization that I was not going home. I just wasn't going. And that thought, and it stuck in my mind 24 hours a day. And so I really wasn't any good to me or anybody else. And whether somebody, my mother always told me I had a guardian angel. When I left the States, she told me that I had a guardian angel not to worry about it. That's exactly what she told me. And I guess it was a fact, because other than being mentally messed with, I come back more or less unscathed, but mentally, I don't think I was as strong a person.
You were damaged. You were damaged.
Wasn't as strong as I wanted to be.
Yeah.
As strong as I thought I was. And that, that made some difference, and it made a big difference. Then when we come back home, and the United States was in such a turmoil.
What job did you do when you came home?
I got my old job back at Emerson.
In Texas?
No, I lived in Kennedy at that time.
Oh, okay, in Missouri, okay.
I came back and I went back to work at Emerson Electric, building fans, and then stayed there a couple of years and got remarried to the boy's mother. And then I got a better job on the railroad, and I worked on that for about 3 years, and then I started farming. And then I farmed until my health gave out on me.
And you met Whitney's mom.
Yeah.
When was that?
That was the boy's mother. We were married 16 years when she died. And then I met a real fine lady a couple of years after Judy died, and we dated for a while, and I met her in church, and she was just a fine lady. And we were married, and Judy and I had lost a house to a fire in February of '85, and we built a new house and moved in it the first night on the 15th of August of '85, and she died in it on September the 6th of '86. And so when Sue and I got married, Sue had her own home, but her and her son moved in with us. I built him another room on the house where my boys had bedrooms, and he did too. And we were getting along good. She was a good stepmom, good wife, the whole 9 yards. We was married about 6 months, and I walked in one day and I said, "You gotta go." The PTSD kicked in. You know, this is Judy's house, you can't be here. Well, we weren't mad, we hadn't been fighting, we hadn't done nothing. I told her, you gotta go. And she said, when? I said, now. She said, I ain't got nowhere to go. So it took about a week for her to get the people out of her house. And then it was about...
Did she even know what was going on?
No,
Yeah.
no. She had no idea. And it was about 2 months before our divorce was final. We dated all that time in 2 months. And then we dated 8 more months after the divorce was final. And then I met Whitney's mom. But I met, it was just something clicked in my head. This is Judy's house, you can't be here.
Mm-hmm.
And that, you know, and there's no explanation to it. It's just the way that I thought, and I thought a lot about the way after Judy died, there was a lot of the way I raised my boys. My way's the right way.
Or the highway.
Well, there wasn't no other way. I mean, it was just my way. You didn't have a choice. And it was terrible. I mean, it was terrible, but it happened, you know, and we talk about it today, and it's, you know, I think the good Lord that they don't hold a grudge, you know, because what's behind us can't be changed. And but it's just like this lady that I'm married to, and we're very good friends today. And you know, we don't pal around, but every time I'm in Kennett and I think about it, I'll stop by and just say hi. But she still don't really know what the reasons. There was no reasoning to that, but other than just my mental.
When did you figure that you needed to go get some help?
When I finally hit rock bottom after me and Whitney's mom, Harriet, I farmed for 29 years, and all of a sudden I just decided I don't want to farm anymore. I don't want to farm, you know. Don't know what I want to do, but I don't want to farm anymore. Well, I've got loans, I've got obligations, I've got land rented, I've got everything else. We load up, go to Texas, and I just leave. I mean, that's the way my mind worked. I mean, I was scarred bad. I mean, and so.
And I'm assuming she's probably going, what the heck?
Yeah, she had no, but I was going to take her back home, so she was willing to go. But, you know, and that's the only way I could figure out how to get out of here.
I gotcha, okay.
That's the only way I could figure out how to get out of it. And so anyway, we went to Texas, and then when we got there, I was down there with no family, no friends,
A baby.
a baby, and living in my mother and father-in-law's house. We couldn't, you know, there again. So it wasn't a few months that went downhill too, and she finally told me, says, you've got a big problem, you need help.
Mm-hmm.
And so that was probably the best move I ever done, was going to Texas and getting help, because there's where I started getting help.
Did you go to the VA then?
In '97.
Okay.
That's when I started getting help, getting better.
And when you went into the VA, did they say, you're normal, there's nothing wrong with you?
No, they did not. They did not. The first thing they told me is I had a bad drinking problem. They said, you can start, but you can't see a psychiatrist, but you can come to meetings until you get dry. And then when you get dry, then we'll help you. But first you gotta help yourself, and that's just the way they told it. And so anyway, that was my start of being a better person, I think, is the way I look at it. And I think because of the VA, you know, I've become a little bit better person. But for years, I mean, I was, I don't know what the right word is. I was damaged. I mean, I was just damaged. And there was no help. I mean, I had to get to the bottom before I could get help. Because I was right and the world was wrong. On everything. It's just what it was. I was right. And I wasn't. I mean, but anyway, that's, and you can edit all this, you know.
Oh, yeah. So Whitney is a little girl growing up.
And me and her mom, I guess if I ever really loved anybody, I loved her mom. But we were so much different. No, I think the one that I loved Judy, but I really fell in love with Harriet. And she was young, she was pretty, she was smart, but no, I
But
can't.
when she married you, she was pretty confused.
Well, I have no idea why she married me, but anyway, I wasn't complaining at that particular time. And then when we had Whitney, then my world changed again because of Whitney. I mean, you know. But after I started getting help, and I've been a completely different type of father to her. She's not been, I mean, she ain't worth killing. And but she's had my heart ever since
Oh, yes.
she's been born.
What was your feeling at the first reunion in Washington, D.C.?
John, I was kind of terrified again there because I didn't know what to expect. I really didn't want to go in and do what we're doing right now, not then. I didn't want to go in and talk about all this. I didn't want to. And then once I got there, it was so easy.
It was a safe place.
Yeah, it was a safe place. And after 30 minutes or an hour of joking and laughing, it seemed like we was all 20 years old again.
We went right back.
I mean, it did. It seemed like we was all 20 years old.
I've said that many times.
And I think that was another one of the big turning points in my life because it was at one of the reunions, and I don't remember where it was at, but somebody said something about that they had been going to Alcoholics Anonymous or something. And somehow, I don't know the prayer, the serenity prayer,
Yeah.
but anyway, it's got something saying more or less, if there's something that's wrong and you can fix it, fix it.
Mm-hmm.
And if there's something wrong and you can't fix it, forget it.
Mm-hmm.
And that hit me, and ever since then, that's the way I've lived my life. And I've become a lot more at ease with myself by just doing that, and not worrying about stuff. It's gonna happen no matter what. And so today, and that's what I tell my kid, try to teach my kids now, is you know, if you got an issue, fix it. And if you ain't got an issue, leave it alone. Or if you can't fix it.
But did you ever notice when we came back, we were the fixers?
Oh yes, had to be, had to get it right.
Yeah, we were the fixers.
Uh-huh. But I found out, like I said, somebody, and I don't remember what reunion, it could have been the first, it could have been the second one, I don't remember, but somebody said that, and that made more sense to me than anything I had ever heard at that particular time.
Mm-hmm.
And so the last 10, 12 years, that's just exactly the way I live. And I'm blessed enough again that, you know, that I can pretty well do
Physically.
physically what I want to do, and by saying that, I can put this deal into works, is what I'm trying to get around to, and don't know how to word it. But it's that I don't worry about any of this. I don't watch the news, I don't do this other, I don't do any of that, I don't worry about it because I can't fix it. I can't fix it, I don't wanna know about it. And so I don't watch the news, I don't get in a gossip group, I don't, you know, and I don't even, I still go to my PTSD groups, but we don't talk about, we just talk about everyday stuff, we don't talk about anything that's here.
What's a hero look like to you?
Well, I've seen a bunch of heroes. Seen a bunch. I mean, I think any person that will risk his life to save mine, he's a hero. You know, because that's one thing I found out when we first got to Vietnam, is you don't fight to protect yourself. I fight to keep you alive. I fight to keep you alive because I can't keep me alive. You gotta do it. And so pretty soon, the heroes are the ones that give up all to get me home. You know, and they didn't necessarily have to die, but a lot of them did. But I think that's more or less, if I'm gonna say a hero, I think it's when you give up everything you got for somebody else. Just, it don't matter, you know, what you've had to do, you know. But, and we've seen a bunch of that. We've seen a bunch of just kids that would give up, well, they give up everything.
What do you want your grandchildren to know about you? If you could tell them anything, what's most important that your grandchildren know about you?
Well, I really hope that my kids, I mean, I've had difficulties with the boys and their kids, but I hope with her that she can relay to this child that, you know, that I did have love in my heart for them and for this United States. Yeah, I think we're privileged, we're lucky to be able to live here. And I try to relay that off to my kids today, you know, because they're fussing about different things. But we still are at the best, we live in the best place there is. And I hope, I mean, I won't say in my lifetime, but I hope that they can straighten up some of the things that me and John let go, you know, messed up. As for, because we got lazy back when we were kids. We had it great. This world was good. And I'm hoping your generation, the one behind it, can maybe turn some of that around, because it is a, you know, well, God's still standing around here. And, you know, and I do believe that. I believe that with all my heart. And that's what I want my, you know, try to let them know that with all the disasters in life, you know, life still, it's a great, you know, it's a good thing. You know, it has been for me, even with all the bad in my life. I've had one hell of a good life. You know.
Well, John, I can't thank you enough, brother.
I don't know if that's what you wanted, but that's all you could get.
You know, you took so much of your time and effort to get down here, and you know what impresses me so much is you said, hey, you call, I'll be there. And you know what, you've been saying that for
Well,
as
I've always told you that.
long as I found you.
Yeah.
I love you, man.
Same here, son.